Hello, everyone. I hope that you're doing amazing wherever you are in the world. My name is Shikha, and I welcome you to my channel. As always, I'm so grateful that you're listening, subscribing, and commenting. I really appreciate the support. In this one, I wanted to speak to you about how when you're doing something with your life, when you've made a decision with regards to your life or with regards to the choices that you're making with your life, with regards to your diet, with regards to whatever it might be, right? When you're making a choice, you have to remember this one thing, this one adage. I really want to share it with you because this is the way I live my life. It's part of the way my vision for my life works, my mission for my life works. And the adage says something like, it doesn't have to make sense to anyone but you. It doesn't have to make sense to anyone but you. In fact, guess what? It's not going to make sense to anyone but you. Really, it's not going to. Because that person on the other end, whoever it is, they're your mother, your sister, your partner, whoever it is, they haven't spent 3,000-4,000 hours or whatever amount of time you have spent thinking about the subject matter. As much as you've spent time on it, they have not. Right? They just have not. They don't care about it as much as you do. They don't have as much invested in it as you do. And so the amount of time that you spend thinking about it, the amount of energy that you spend on it, the amount of research that you've probably done on it, there's no one else on the planet who's going to do the same amount of research, the same kind of idea putting, like the same kind of energy into it. No one else is going to do that except for you because you care about this issue. And so you have to remember that a lot of times when you'll be telling people, first of all, I tell people not to tell these things to other people. If you're starting something new, or if you're starting a new habit, or starting a new business, or doing something really cool that you're really excited about, in most cases, it's a good idea to kind of keep it to yourself for the first few days, first few months, first few weeks, whatever it might be. And then once you're used to it, once you're happy with it, once a little bit more stable, then you can start sharing with people. In general, I don't talk about the things that I do with people until it's stable enough in my head. Because I don't want to hear their comments, I don't want to hear their criticisms, I don't want to hear their insights or feedback because they are not coming from the same place as me. I've spent hours thinking about it already. I've spent days researching it already, and then I've decided, okay, I think I'm going to do this. And they're not. They haven't. They don't care, right? And so they'll just randomly be like, yeah, you know what? I don't really like this idea. And I mean, I sometimes do that to other people as well. And I really try now to be like, all right, let me think about this properly. And is this comment or feedback absolutely necessary, right? Like, I'm careful. I'm trying to be very careful with that. Because in fact, that person might have spent hundreds of hours on it, and I'm just going in and be like, yeah, I don't like it. And then boom, like their house of cards just completely falls. And they were so excited about something, but now it's completely gone into the garbage, right? So you don't want to do that to someone else. You don't want that person to do that to you either. It's both ways, right? And so in general, as I said, I don't share it until I'm completely satisfied and stable with the idea myself. But also, if even then I share it with the world and they're like, yeah, you know what, I really don't think it's a good idea. I don't know. Are you sure about this? And this happens a lot to me because I started a lot of new things. I'm always starting new projects. I'm always starting new things that I like to do, new publications. I just started a new publication called Rage Against the Patriarchy. Really excited about this project. And so, of course, I shared it with people once I was stable enough with the idea and really excited about it and grounded in myself with it. And of course, people are like, yeah, you know what? I don't really like this idea. I think it's too much. I think it's too ragey. I'm like, that's the point. But anyways, so people say all these things, but because I know that it's my idea and I'm happy with it and I've already gone into it and I know what it's all about, I don't really mind what they say because it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter because I know what it's all about, right? And so really try to come back to the sense of knowing every single time, to the sense of why are you doing this? And to come back to the sense of stability before you start sharing it with people and before you let them destroy your ideas that you've worked so hard to create. This is something that happens quite often to people. I've seen it happen many times, not only to myself, not anymore, but I used to do that to myself all the time before. But I've seen it happen to so many people around me. They're gung ho about their ideas. They'll come in like just with all of this enthusiasm and this excitement. And then someone says, yeah, you know what? It doesn't make any sense to me. And it's as if you can see like their inner child just like weeping inside, and their whole foundation crumbling, and them just like, oh my God. And I'm looking at it and thinking, in my head, I'm thinking, do not worry about it. It doesn't have to make sense to anyone but you. It doesn't have to make sense to anyone. I just want to repeat that to them over and over again. And it is the truth. It really doesn't have to make sense to anyone but you. In fact, as I said, it's not going to make sense to anyone but you. Really, that's the truth of it. And I've given you so many examples from my life over all the different videos I've done. I mean, the fact that one day decided, you know what, guys, I'm going to quit my job. That makes me loads of money. I'm going to rent my apartment out downtown in a really nice area. And I'm going to move to a random little tiny apartment in Chiang Mai, Thailand, which is across the world in a random country in a random part of the world in Asia. And my parents are like, Asia, but we were born there. We went from there to here for a reason. So I'm gonna move there, and I'm gonna start my own business. I'm gonna start my own writing thing. I'm gonna start my own thing, right? So of course, I made this decision. I've made it out of a lot of hours of thinking. I spent a lot of time thinking about it. It seems probably spontaneous to other people. They're like, but yesterday you were fine. Today you're not. What's going on, right? They don't see all the hours of thinking, of pondering, reflection, contemplation that I've put into it. And so for me, I know it makes absolute sense. But then to them, they're like, yeah, no, this does not make sense. You are losing your mind. You're probably not in the right state of mind. Maybe you should think about this a little bit more. Maybe there's something going on with you. Maybe what you need to do is just find a boyfriend. That's what a lot of people told me when I was like, guys, I think I'm going to quit my job and move across the world and start writing. People are like, are you lonely? Do you need a boyfriend? Is that what's going on with you? And I'm sitting there thinking, yeah, that's exactly it. Right. You're so smart. So much sarcasm. I should stop doing that. So anyways, so that's what I was like, no, it's not that. It's, I made this decision. I really want to do it, blah, blah, blah. But then I realized over time, as I said, people are not going to understand you. In fact, a lot of times people will completely misunderstand you. They'll be in that zone and you're in this zone. You're like, but I said this. How did you figure that out? I mean, come on, what's going on here? And so really, no one needs to understand it. No one needs to know it. No one needs to be privy to it except for you. Because you're the one living your life. You're the one who's going to deal with all the issues, all the heartaches, all the heartbreaks, all that stuff is going to be your thing. No one else is going to be there for you during that time. They can just give this random advice to you saying, I don't think it makes sense, and then walk away. And then you're stuck with dealing with the ravages of it, right? So why bother? So in fact, I didn't actually, when I first moved to Thailand, I didn't tell anyone except obviously my family and a couple of friends. No one knew I was doing it. No one. Because I was like, I don't want to hear the criticisms. I don't want to hear the feedback. I don't want to hear the feedback. Like, I'm like, it's feedback, but you haven't actually thought about it. And you haven't actually consciously thought about it. And so a lot of people just kind of give me random advice without even thinking about it. Sometimes people actually come to me and say, I really have a great idea for you on how you should run your YouTube channel. And in my head, I'm thinking, you don't have a YouTube channel. You've never done a video in your life. You're afraid of doing videos. How do you have advice for me to run my channel, right? I mean, of course, I'll listen to the advice mostly, but I always take everything with a grain of salt. Less than a grain of salt sometimes, because I'm like, well, yeah, I don't think I can trust your judgment or your advice because you have no idea what you're talking about, right? It's not like a person who has 10 million subscribers coming to me and saying, hey, boom, so, maybe you should do this with regards to your YouTube channel. I think it'd be a great idea. Then I would jump on it, like a bee on honey or something. My metaphors need work. But of course, if it's just a random person off the street, I'm like, yeah, you know what? Thank you for the advice, but no thank you, right? And so that's what I really want you guys to become, like really strong within yourself and really understand that when you've made a decision, you're not making a decision just randomly getting up out of the blue and be like, yeah, okay, yeah, this is what I'm going to do. You probably thought about it a lot, and so it makes sense to you for a reason because you've done research on it. You've thought about it. You've made a decision after hours and hours and hours of pondering. And so it makes sense to you, and usually that's the only person that's going to make sense to you. Like usually maybe your partner might understand, maybe your mother or father might understand, mostly not. Maybe your sister might understand, someone really close to you, maybe they'll understand, maybe. But in most cases, I've noticed for myself, no one gets it. Really, no one gets it. And so am I going to stop doing things because they don't get it? No. I'm going to keep on doing it because it makes sense to me, and that's the only person that it has to make sense to. All right? And that's the only person that really I care about is, does it make sense to me? Yeah, okay, cool, I'm doing it. And so I wanted to do this video because I really want you guys, people, guys and gals, to stop using this thing as an excuse. Oh, but you know, this person told me that doesn't make, who cares? Does it make sense to you? Go ahead and do it. Now, of course, I'm not saying all of your ideas are going to be brilliant and on point, but if it makes sense to you, do it. And if it doesn't work out, cool. That's great. Some ideas work out, some ideas don't. And so go for it. And you can always tweak things around. If it doesn't work out perfectly, you can be like, well, that didn't work out, maybe I could try this, right? And so that's what life is all about. But you gotta go for it. You can't always be going to other people and letting them ruin your ideas and then sitting in the corner in your comfort zone, never trying anything new. That's not how you want to live this life, do you? I hope not. All right. I hope this makes sense. If you have any questions, comment below and I shall do a follow-up video, but I think it's pretty straightforward. It doesn't have to make sense to anyone except for you, okay? Again, thank you, and I shall see you the next time around. Bye for now.